種宅。
Let's talk about Crash. Unless you've been living under a rock or something, or maybe, I don't know, you're just dumb, then you already know that we're getting Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. Toys for Bob is essentially just nuking everything that came after Crash Bandicoot Warped on the PS1. No longer will I have to think about how I once peered into the eyes of Tribal Tattoo Crash Bandicoot and saw nothing but the void. If you really want to talk about the good games, then all we need to talk about are 1, 2, and 3 in Crash Team Racing. And 1, 2, and 3 in Crash Team Racing when they came out for a second time. It just feels wrong to forget everything else that came out that made us all bare our teeth and grimace and suffer over the years. So let's talk about everything that has to do with Crash Bandicoot, and why right now is a great time to be a Crash Bandicoot fan. I'm gonna condense all the good games into one little part because they've been out for a long ass time and really we already know the deal. The first game was a little bit jank and ball-bustingly difficult, but fun, and all the characters were pretty charming. We got to know Crash, and it turns out a lot of people liked him, because we got a sequel. The second game was nearly perfect in literally every single way.
Fight me.
The third game was pretty much more of the same. However, thanks to the third game, we all started associating Egyptian Ankhs with not divinity, but pain and suffering and time trials. And let us not forget Crash Team Racing, the game that managed to be better than Mario Kart. Twice. Now we get to a real hot button topic in the Crash community, and that is Wrath of Cortex, and I'm gonna tell you what I think about Wrath of Cortex right now. I don't like it. There's too many gimmick levels. The look of the game is, well, unfinished is putting it nicely. The music is pretty hit or miss. Hit or miss. With some of the music being quiet and catchy, but most of it really just kind of feeling generic. Honestly, most of the game feels pretty generic with the weird shoehorned in celebrity cameos for the elemental masks and the I'm you, but buff and evil bad guy. Did I mention that every single boss in the game is just crunch over and over again? Let's move on to something else depressing. Crash Twinsanity had a lot going for it. It's colorful, the acapella soundtrack somehow was not grating on the ears, and you get to play as Crash and Cortex. Too bad the cutscenes and dialogue are all really like stilted and weird, and it controls like a bad fan-made game. Fucking stankaroni, am I right? I think there were some handheld Crash games for like Nokia phones and Blackberries and stuff, so I don't know, go check out the bargain bin at GameStop, probably there. I don't know. There's some shitty racing games, Nitro Kart, something. I remember getting them as a kid and just thinking that they were like Crash Team Racing, but somehow worse. Not to mention the new bad guy was basically just like fat nitrous oxide. My man's looks like the antagonist of an unreleased Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. And that brings up a really good point as to why I think a lot of the Crash games did not work after Warped. Character design went right out the window in favor of... This is how I'm assuming it went down. Some intern at Vicarious Visions saw Tiny Tiger, Papu Papu, and Jin, Embryo, Cortex, and said, okay, but what if we made Humpty Dumpty in a robot suit? Can't forget to mention these monstrosities that look like Tweety Bird mixed with one of those foreskins from Moron Mountain in Space Jam. Picture, if you will, a Crash Bandicoot game. Now take away everything from it that really makes it a Crash Bandicoot game, except for the characters, but give them horrible redesigns. Now add gameplay comparable to the Werehog levels from Sonic Unleashed and Knack, but make it the worst parts of both of those I cannot describe to you how awful Crash of the Titans and Mind Over Mutant feel to play. They suck. If anyone out there is still defending Baby Babble, Tribal Tattoo Crash Bandicoot, stop it. Get some help. Oh yeah, and they turned Crunch into a black stereotype.
Gonna have to school you proper for that.
Now, we arrive at the silent part of Crash's life. I think he was a Skylander for a little bit. And that's pretty much it. We, as his loyal fan base, pronounced him dead, and were pretty much ready to move on with our lives and get sucked into something else and get disappointed when that dies. Then, in 2017, Crash came back in the same 3 games again, but with better graphics, and they fucked up the turtle level, and the music wasn't as good. But Crash was back. In all honesty, in an age of remakes, the NSane Trilogy was a breath of fresh air and a shining golden standard of how to bring back your old series, how to make it feel new again. And thanks to the success of it, we got the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and then we got Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, and those were awesome. Fast forward to 2020, and we got the best news that we could have possibly received. An auto-running mobile game. And Crash 4. It is clearly following in the footsteps of the OG trilogy, while adding in some new stuff, new masks, which didn't work so well in Wrath of Cortex, but these ones look pretty cool. I like their designs. The voices, from what we've heard so far, sound pretty good. All around, it really just looks like a great addition to the series, and I can't wait to play it. On top of all that rich history, we've also got Crash fan games. There's Crash Intense Adventure, which is technically a Sonic fan game, but who cares? It's awesome. Go play it. There's Crash Bandicoot for PC, which is actually like 5 years old, and I don't think it's been worked on for a long time, and is a nightmare, but you should go play it. Crystal's Wrath, and it's been in development for like 7 years now, but from what I've seen, it looks really promising, and it's not finished, but I really hope that one day it does get finished, and I hope a lot of you go and check it out, because their hard work needs to be worth it. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of been rough being a Crash fan. Almost as rough as being a Sonic fan. Almost. So now you know why it's a good time to be a Crash fan. We got 4 good games that came out twice, and a new sequel that may be good or awful. And that's it.